Tell us more about some of the things that you have been involved in.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so this year has been pretty tough. Obviously final year of masters doing it in a pandemic. But some of the projects that I worked on this year would have to be Heart Tree, which was part of the Play of the City Brunswick project, and also Street Tape Games, which is like a urban play activation project that I'm currently working on.
It's great. So between Evan, myself and you, the last couple of years of MAGI, there's been a bit of a Perth invasion happening. So Perth represents. I understand MAGI was a bit of a gear shift for you. What drew you towards the course and towards making games and interactive experiences?
Yeah, so I actually started off, my background is in multimedia design or digital design back in Perth and worked for about 8 years before I kind of decided to move on to something else, do a bit of a career change. And there were kind of two events that happened that kind of prompted me to do that. The first was when I came over to Melbourne, actually in 2017, to attend Melbourne International Games Week, and it was the Parallels event that I attended during the Games Week that kind of really inspired me. And then the second thing that happened was when I went to Japan, I visited the Borderless exhibition in Tokyo, and that was kind of like a life-changing moment for me, seeing all the projection work there. And yeah, after that, decided to apply for MAGI, got in and quit my job in Perth and moved to Melbourne to study. Yeah, and I think what drew me to MAGI specifically, rather than any other course in Melbourne, was because MAGI, like in the course name, it covers animation, games and interactivity. And I often find that the work that I work on is kind of at the intersection between all of these different fields. So the ability to just kind of, work across various different fields, I think that's what drew me to this course. Yeah.
Sure. You have been quite involved in a frightening amount of MAGI community avenues. How have you found the learning experience and culture?
For me, MAGI isn't about, learning new software or technical skills specifically. For me, MAGI is about prompting myself to question myself as an artist and what I want to do and why I am creating a piece of work. Like, you'll hear the word inquiry a lot when you start doing Studio 2 with Matt. And yeah, I think through each studio, you're constantly kind of reflecting, questioning, and refining your practice as an artist. And that's kind of what was my biggest kind of learning at MAGI, is kind of discovering what I enjoyed doing and what I didn't enjoy doing. And It gave me that space and time to really explore different things and make mistakes and learn from them and then try again.
Yeah, sure. I am totally going to ask you to pick your favorite child now. From your collection of works, what is your MAGI highlight?
Gosh, I'm gonna not pick a specific project and actually say that my favorite moment in MAGI would probably be doing advanced play design, or APD.
Yeah.
Because it was those series of weekly jams that we did where we had to work towards a specific theme and make something. And I specifically gave myself only 2 hours to work on each theme. It was so much fun. It was about letting go of your usual practice and actually forcing yourself to make something in a very short time frame. And that actually freed myself a lot in terms of my practice as well. And I think APD was like a turning point for me. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm quite excited to get to ADP. I guess as an interactive artist, like Carlo, I guess, how did you approach lockdown?
Oh, it was hard. Obviously playtesting wasn't possible, just because of restrictions. But it was also just being creative, I guess, with what you have. So, for example, when I was making Heart Tree back in Studio 3, I didn't have access to a real tree to prototype my work. So what I ended up doing was I made a cardboard tree. I built a cardboard tree and demoed Heart Tree on a cardboard tree. And that was actually a lot of fun building that tree from scratch. And also, for example, I Spy in the Dark, which is like another project that I worked on for my elective. Again, didn't have access to any laser cutting facilities, so had to kind of manually cut everything myself, bought a whole bunch of supplies from Officeworks. So, but I think all of us being designers, artists and designers, we're naturally problem solvers already. So I think it's just a matter of being flexible, making compromises, and just working within limitations. And you still end up, finishing the work anyway. I think we're all creatives, so working within limitations is kind of part of our job. So yeah,
absolutely. Problem solving 101. Right. I know that you like always have a lot on your plate for next year. So what project are you most looking forward to developing?
So I'll very much be busy with my latest project, Street Tape Games. It's kind of like it's a large-scale temporary installation that uses social distancing tapes to play street games that have been redesigned with social distancing in mind. So very much a timely response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And luckily there has been a lot of interest in the project from city councils and also other organisations. And we're very, very fortunate that we have acquired funding to further develop and present this project in 2021. So that is what I'll be working on in the next few months.
That's awesome. And that's so great to see, Helen. I know it's been wonderful to watch your works throughout my short time at MAGI. But yeah, I mean, I really love everything that you've done. In particular, I think I really enjoyed, as much as the projection mapping one with your stories, I actually really like Jump Jump Band. I just like the style of the graphics of that. Yeah, I thought that was really nice. So, we wish you all the best for the future. I don't doubt it's the last time we're hearing from you. I'm looking forward to seeing many more talks and presentations of work from you in the future. It's been really great having you around. Thank you for all your guidance throughout the year. I know that to me in particular, you've been great with feedback and offering advice throughout the course, which has been really inspiring. So thank you. And yeah, all the best. Congratulations on graduation.
Thank you so much.
COVID-19. The coronavirus pandemic has brought enormous changes to the way we live, work and play. Half of the world's population is either in lockdown or have had their movements restricted in public. People have become fearful of public space, and as social distancing becomes the new normal, playing together in public space suddenly raises issues of safety and calls for new modes of interaction. The problem with a lot of physical games such as street, playground, folk and children's games is that they often involve players touching and coming into close proximity with one another. In addition, using props like a ball, stick or rope can increase the risk of surface transmission. So how do we play tag when we can't tag each other anymore? How can we redesign physical games to incorporate social distancing as a part of their game design? Street Tape Games aims to answer this question. Street Tape Games is a large-scale temporary installation that uses social distancing tapes to create playful markings on the ground. These markings form a play space that the public can use to play a series of street games that have been redesigned with social distancing in mind. Adopting Bernard de Koven's philosophy around the well-played game, Street Tape Games is about changing the game's rules rather than the players themselves. As de Koven said, It's not the game that's sacred, it's the people who are playing. So how do we do this? Using the MDA framework, I deconstructed and reconstructed 6 physical games for Street Tape Games. The 6 redesigned games are Tape Statues, a combination of the game's statues, touch colour and What's the Time Mr. Wolf. Players have to freeze like statues on the right coloured tapes. The COVID-19 Handshake. While players move around greeting each other with their newly invented handshakes, a murderer is amongst them, killing players with a secret wink. One Step at a Time, a variation of the game British Bulldog, except as a turn-based strategy game between bulldogs and players. The Eclipse Waltz, based on Bernard de Koven's original game Eclipse, players have to keep 1.5 meters apart while dancing around the play space to align with their Earth and Moon players. Mimic Me Foursquare, where players battle it out Foursquare style, but rather than hitting the ball to one another, they challenge each other to a 4-player, Simon-like memory game of body actions and poses. And finally, Distant Whispers, where players split into 2 teams and sit 1.5 meters apart. Each team is given a secret message to pass along the line in a distant whisper. So what's next for Street Tape Games? The next stage will be to playtest and refine all these games once we emerge from lockdown. The installation will eventually be presented as a facilitated public play event, where kids, families and playful adults can play and re-engage with their community. Street Tape Games is a playful demonstration of how people can still play during a COVID-19 world. It shows that even though we're living in the midst of a pandemic, with a playful reframing of the mind, it is still possible to have fun and connect with others.